couple of other people trying to join at the moment. I can see their names flashed up, but it's good. Glad you could join us, Izzy. You're good. Emily May, I've not seen you for a couple of hours. Hope you're both good.
Yeah.
Give it a minute. You can see Amy's joining, and then she goes and it's joining. So she's obviously having some technical difficulties. Oh, there's another Amy trying to join. She must be trying to join from somewhere else.
There's always some sort of technical
I
issues.
know. The last time I did this, I tried to share a video and the sound didn't work. And I was like, that's never happened before. And I can't see why. So, who knows?
Now we've got two Amy's, it seems, but that's okay. There may well be two.
From two different places, yeah. Give her a minute to join. Hi, Amy. We can see you.
Hi, sorry, I think I logged on and it looked like it just timed out and it kind of, I just logged back in again. I heard someone say there's two Amy's, it's probably me twice.
Yeah,
Well,
don't
there is
worry,
another
we can see you trying to join. I was like, yeah, it's the usual, usually some kind of Zoom technical issues. So thanks for joining us. I can see a couple of other people sort of joining kind of in the background of kind of trying to get on and stuff. But anyway, hello, welcome for joining us. So we've got myself, I'm Mel, and then we've got Maya and Emily. I'm pointing like this. I don't know, there might be different places on your screen. And then we've got Izzy, who on my screen is down here. She might not be on yours. But yeah, thanks for joining as well, Amy. So like I said, we've got a couple of other people, look like they're still trying to join. So if you want to grab a quick drink or something and you've not had a chance and you've just sat down, you've got maybe a minute or so to grab something, then we'll make a start. Amy, where did you find us from? Was it through you in the Facebook group or?
Yeah, the Facebook group, yeah.
Perfect.
I was just looking for travel inspiration and like groups with like to go traveling with, so
yeah,
here I am.
Perfect. You're in the right place. And then we've got Izzy, came on our Balkan trip towards the end of last year. It was like, yeah, in October time. So we went to Croatia, Mostar in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Montenegro as well. So I'll make a start, and then if anyone can join us, we usually have this kind of, I can see a couple of people that have popped up and then disappeared, so they might be having similar technical issues, but I will make a start because I know it's kind of in the evening. Don't want to keep you too long. So I've already said who I am. I'm Mel, and then you've got Emily and Maya who are in my team. So unless you may have seen stuff that we've shared online and stuff like that. So what's nice about this tour is normally I would be going anyway and running this tour. I own Travel Queen, and then we've got Emily and Maya from my team as well. So all three of us are going to be on the trip. So it's quite nice. Obviously, we get people booking on at all different times. And it's not that far away, but it's still a few months, so we've got a few people booked on already who weren't able to make it tonight, unfortunately. But yeah, it's quite nice. We can at least get to meet at least three faces that you know are going to be on the trip, in particular this June. But we do also have the September Bali tour as well. So I don't know, I know, Izzy, you'll be familiar with Travel Queen, so obviously you've already been on a tour with us. But Amy, have you had a look on our website at all? Do you know much about the different trips, or was it Bali in particular you were interested in, or it just happened to be this event?
It just happened to be this event because I just noticed you go swim with turtles, and I'm interested in stuff like that.
Yes, we do. Yeah, proper highlight of this trip in particular.
Yeah. Indonesia, I've never been to Indonesia neither, so that's another thing, you know, like off the bucket list of trying to.
Yeah, definitely. It's
go
beautiful.
to as many different countries as possible.
Yeah, and have you done much traveling before? Have you been on any places like that in kind of Southeast Asia before?
I've never been to Southeast Asia. I think the most exotic place I've ever been is Brazil.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, so I went to Carnival in not Rio. It's in a place called Recife. It's one of the Pernambuco province of Brazil. Okay. They have you know, carnivals everywhere all around Brazil. Yeah. That was really
I went to Brazil, but that was one thing I went at the wrong time of year for Carnival, so that's on my bucket list to go back and experience that. So yeah, no, that would be
Easter time, yeah.
Yeah, Easter time, yeah. Definitely, it's on my list. And then Izzy, you've been thinking about Bali as a possibility? I think it's been your birthday recently as well, hasn't it?
Yes.
Birthday.
Thanks. Yeah, it was my
Happy
birthday on Monday. I'd been
birthday!
considering it anyway, and then then I had an email from Emily. I was like, I'm considering it even more now, so because I knew that Emily and May were going anyway, so it'd be nice to. I'd know some people. Which would be nice.
Yeah, familiar. Like I said, there's always new people on the tours and stuff as well. But and we always have we do have one of these kind of meetups just for women on the tour. So each tour that we do, we have like a pre meetup just for everyone that's going on the trip. But because everyone books on at so many different times, sometimes we get people booking really early, but then they don't always necessarily join. You know, they can't make the Zoom event. But then we obviously get people booking like quite close up to going as well. So it's not until just before you go that you tend to meet everyone. So it's nice to at least meet 3 people that you know are going to be on the June tour. What I thought we would do is I'll just talk a little bit about Travel Queen. So I know this is mainly for Amy, and just to give you a bit of a flavour of kind of like how we do things and how it kind of works. I know you mentioned doing a little bit of traveling before, but I think you said that your first kind of group tour experience, or did you do something?
I've not done anything like this before now. Yeah.
That's actually pretty much how most women join us, to be honest. You know, like most people who come to us, unless they've done a Travel Queen trip before, we tend to attract people that this is their sort of first time doing something like this. We don't often get people that are like, oh yeah, I've done loads of group tours, you know. It's just something about us that kind of attracts kind of first timers, if you like. So just hopefully that's reassuring that you feel like there'll be other people on the tour kind of, you know, doing this for the first time as well. And it's very rare that we get people booking on together. So vast majority of people, I'd say 90% of people book on, you know, by themselves without knowing anybody. So we don't really get kind of groups or pairs. Very occasionally we'll get a couple of people, or maybe they've been on a previous tour and they've said, oh, we fancy the Bali tour, we'll go on that one. But then even if that happens, it tends to be that, you know, they started off in exactly the same position as any women on the tour that is their first time as well. So what that kind of means is that it's generally kind of a really friendly, welcoming environment because everyone's in the same boat. You don't have I know some group tour companies tend to attract people that just either couples or people that go, you know, like with a few people, and not that they're not going to be friendly, but they've already kind of got their travel buddies set, you know, so they sometimes keep themselves to themselves a little bit more. So that's what's nice about Travel Queen is everyone's kind of there, you know, on day one, like, oh, hello, who are my new travel buddies? And, you know, kind of keen to meet everyone and kind of do all the things like the dinners in the evening and stuff together as well.
That sounds nice, yeah. So you're all together like pretty much all the time.
Yeah, and that's, you know, I always say, you know, there's time we would do loads of different activities and travel around lots on this tour, on all of our tours. And so in the evenings, I always encourage people, like, if you feel like you want to just have a bit of time to yourself, that's absolutely fine. You know, there's so many beautiful places to just chill and hang out by yourself as well, if you need that. But we always have a plan in the evening for if you want to join with the group, and, you know, recommended places for dinner and stuff like that. So most people just generally stay, you know, with the group the whole time. I know some group tours will have kind of the day activities and then not much planned in the evening. So we find that, people want to stay together and do stuff, and usually go off my recommendation as to where would you recommend going for dinner and stuff. So we always have a plan for the evening. So I'm trying to think of extra little things that are a little bit different about Travel Queen. I guess we're a small company, so we're not kind of a big, you know, one of the huge kind of like online tour companies. You get big companies like Bali Adventures and even Flashpack and places like that. So we are super personal. It is my company, so pretty much I'm like heavily involved in everything to do with everything, really. I have helpers now, so they're helping me with stuff, but it's still every tour that we have is basically put together as a result of my travels in that destination. So that's what I mean by, like, you can literally ask me anything. So without sounding kind of without sounding funny, if I don't know it, no one knows it. So you can't, honestly, people always say, this might be a daft question, but, and I'm like, it's not a daft question, honestly, just ask away. Stuff about the destination and flights and, you know, all the practical stuff as well, about things like what to pack and all that kind of stuff. So I go out first and plan everything, check out all the accommodation, make sure it's safe as well, you know, in terms of we do stuff together as a group. But if you ever kind of feel like you just want to go back to the room early and stuff like that, you know, I've kind of done all of that as a woman traveling on her own to start with. So I've kind of checked everything out and gone, yes, that feels safe. And got some interesting stories about when I've checked things out and thought, no, that's not that's not going to make it onto the tour. That's not quite suitable. But yeah, there's lots of different experiences, and also all the activities we tend to do. Vast majority of our activities are private, so just for us. And that means it's nice. We have just our group there. So again, it's good for bringing the group together. But also it means that I've basically tried it out and said, that was good, but it'd be even better if we could do it like this. Like for our group, can we do it this way? And we'll go and do the activity, but let's know, for example, when we do in Bali is a beautiful place, but there are some areas that are very touristy. So we tend to avoid those areas and kind of see like the real Bali. And the experiences are quite different to like a standard, if you just went to like the main part in Bali and, you know, booked some trips from there and did stuff with the masses. So we tend to do things, yeah, a little bit different. And we have quite a lot of hidden gems, which to me, you only really find by traveling, you know, in the place and experiencing it, and working with local people as well. So that's a big thing, a big focus of what we do. Another big thing that's different, I would say, about Travel Queen is the standard and the quality of the accommodation where we stay. So particularly on every tour, it's very, very high. When I sort of first went and tried out different group tours myself, I was like a very experienced traveller, but I found that for the prices, we were just staying in some what can only be described as few dumps, to be honest. You know, they're in beautiful locations, but just weren't very nice places to stay. So we pride ourselves on having very, very high standard accommodation. Some of the places we stay are just absolutely luxurious, and then some of the more simple ones that we stay, I choose those on purpose because they're very Balinese style, you know. So we have these kind of like rustic little bungalows on the beach, and that's as simple as our accommodation gets. This one place in Nusa Penida, but that's often some people's favorite place because it's just so simple, and you step out and you're right on the beach, and the little bungalows are just beautiful, like Balinese carving and things like that. So we've chosen them very, very carefully, all the different places that we stay, and we work directly with these hotels, and they know us as well. So as we arrive, they know everything's kind of set up and in place for us. So, and I suppose a big thing as well is kind of supporting you from the moment that you book until you go. So rather than just booking and kind of turning up and having a meeting point or a place to be picked up at the airport and things like that, we have, like I said, we have a pre-tour meetup for everyone to meet before we go. We do that virtually because we get people coming from different parts of the UK predominantly. Occasionally we get people from further afield, but it's predominantly women from the UK. Whereabouts are you from? Whereabouts are you? Sorry, Amy.
Liverpool. Yeah.
From Liverpool, yeah. I thought so with the accent, but I just thought
Yeah.
you might have relocated.
You can, yeah, you can't escape my accent, really.
It's like mine. Everyone knows I'm from Bolton. It can't be escaped. Lost it a little bit apparently, according to my family, but yeah, it still gets pinpointed. And then Izzy, just remind me, whereabouts are you from again, Izzy?
I'm from London, live in Reading, but from London.
Yeah, I was going to say you're in the south, though, aren't you? So you'd be flying from the south, and you'd be flying from probably Manchester, I imagine, for Liverpool. Obviously, there's Liverpool Airport, but some of the bigger flights for places like Bali and places like that usually kind of go from Manchester as the kind of the better long haul flights usually have connections. Yeah. So you can usually guarantee on any tour that we have a group of women coming from the north and a group of women coming from the south, and obviously there's people in all different areas, but they tend to go to those two airports. So as well, what we do is put you in touch with each other through our Facebook group for the tour before you go. And this is completely optional. You don't have to. You can just think, I'm going to do my flight and I'm not going to talk to anyone. I'm just going to sleep on the plane and get there and then meet everyone. But if you do want to kind of travel out with other women on the tour, then that's something that, you know, we kind of help you with that as well and put you in touch with people. And encourage people to share that information, but we don't obviously force anyone to. But generally, women that come on the tour are like, yes, if there's anyone else going from, you know, my part of the UK, I'd love to meet up with them and perhaps get the same flight out and stuff like that, and arrange to meet up at the airport. And then in that Facebook group, we share lots of information from all the practical stuff. So once you know you're actually going, things like, oh, well, what kind of bag do I need to take and what kind of clothes, and just tips and stuff about, you know, things like getting through the airport on arrivals, if there's any funny little forms that you have to fill out before you go. So, you know, we kind of help you and advise with all of that as well. So, I mean, we can talk about all sorts and there'll be loads of different questions, but I'll probably get stuck into the actual Bali tour as to why you're here, because that will take me a little bit of time to chat through. So what I'm going to do is just share my screen, which will hopefully work. We had some technical issues the last time I did this. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, it will make sense in a minute. At the moment, there's a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah,
So
see that?
this is, so you can see, this is the Travel Queen website. So this is our Bali Adventure. That's me looking out in Nusa Penida. So you can go on and have a look at all this, you know, kind of after the Zoom event at your own leisure as well, if you haven't already, but it's just good to use this as a bit of a slideshow to talk you through. So we have 2 dates. We have the 22nd of June to the 3rd of July, and it's 12 days. And then we also have the 7th to the 18th of September as well. But it's the June tour, June tour in particular, that all 3 of us will be on. And I'm actually looking at, it's not kind of finalized yet, but we have starting to have tour leaders help me run some of these tours. Someone's just joined. So we're hoping that we'll have that person set up and ready to run the September tour. So I don't want that to put anyone off though either, because actually I will only ever give, I'm very particular about everything to do with Travel Queen. So I only ever have someone who I think is amazing and who's come with us and trained up and done everything in the style that we do it. So they would be effectively a local Balinese version of me, and have obviously their own sort of side to things and benefits of being a local person as well. So they will be hopefully in place from the September tour onwards. But yeah, the June tour is obviously the first one that all 3, myself, Emily and Maya, will be on as well, which is quite rare. We don't get to go on every tour together because obviously we have some work to do in the office back here in Manchester. But yeah, it's nice we'll all be on this one. So those are the tour dates. There's the tour price, which is 2,495. So that doesn't include flights. The flights are extra to that to travel. We can't really package it up because basically people book on it all the time. And like we mentioned earlier, travel from slightly different airports. And it makes quite a big difference, you know, when you book as well. Early on is always better for long haul trips. Certainly if you're going to places like Bali, the earlier you book your flights, the better the price you will get basically. And again, that's something that you do need to book yourself, but we can help you with that. So we know it's part of the process. It can be a little bit daunting. We tell you the times that you need to book and everything to work around, you know, the different time scales and around the tour. But even though we can't book those for you, it's actually much better for you to book with the airlines directly. But then we can give you advice around that. And also if you want to sort of check before you're booking and say, this is the one I'm looking at, is this right? Can you just give it a sense check? We'll do that for you as well. Just obviously we're happier, the happier you are, the happier we are, and we know it's all going to work. So that's just on the flights, and obviously you can ask any questions about that. So this tour has absolutely all sorts packed into it. So one of the reasons, there's a few reasons why I love Bali in particular. We obviously have a few different tours. I'm just going to check. I know someone was joining us. I can just see that Lakshmi, you have joined us, so it's absolutely fine to keep your video off. We can't see you at the moment and there's no sound on, just so you know, just in case you're talking away to us and we can't see you. But that's absolutely fine. You can keep your video like that. Feel free, whatever's easiest. I know sometimes it can be a bit nervous, like joining an event like this, but also you might be doing something, you might be having your dinner, you know, things going on in the background. So, but just wanting to say welcome. Thanks for joining us. You've probably gathered by now, but I'm Mel, and we've got a few other ladies on the tour. So we've got Emily on the event. We've got Emily and Maya who are waving away. So all 3 of us definitely going to Bali, and then hopefully the other ladies will be joining as well. And then we've got Izzy, who's been on one of our tours before, but new to Bali, and then Amy's just here as well as a new person like yourself. So if you do have any questions, you can pop those in the chat as well. If you don't feel like hopping on and asking in person, or if you've got other things going on, you can just put those questions in the chat at any point, and we'll have a little look and try and answer those for you. So I'm just going through the Travel Queen website, which gives an overview of the tour. So just as I was just mentioning there, particularly what I love about Bali. So we have quite a few Southeast Asian tours, and someone asked me to describe like why Bali, why would you choose Bali over the other tours? Obviously they're all great in their own right, but they're quite different. So we have our Thailand tour, there's a lot of island hopping. We have our Vietnam and Cambodia adventure, which has a lot of culture and temples. And what I would say about Bali, what I really love about this tour is that there's almost like all the variety, but in one trip. So you have we go to 2 different islands on this tour, and we also travel around Bali itself. We have kind of inland and jungle side, then we get out into real villages. Then we have the island hopping part. There's so much culture packed into this tour, but in like a really fun way. So we see lots of temples, and we also do lots of activities with local Balinese people, which is, I would say, is one of the highlights of the trip. So we get to spend time with Balinese women making like the little offerings, the little flower offerings that they do every day to take to temples. So it's very immersive in terms of actually feeling like you've been to the real Bali. Not just, you know, kind of ticked Bali off your list and you've gone, I've gone to Bali and I've gone to the main tourist spot. It's amazing how many people go to Bali and don't actually get outside of the immediate kind of tourist hub. So loads of different activities, and also just the kind of landscape and the natural scenery. So you have beautiful jungles, like I said, the coastline and beautiful sort of white sand beaches, turquoise waters. But then you also have like the volcanoes in the distance. We do like the Jeep tour. So there's just so much variety on this trip. And that's one of the things I particularly love about it. So I'll, rather than talk a bit into each of those, I'll go through our itinerary so you can get more of a feel for it. And as I mentioned earlier, and just for Lakshmi has joined us as well, the accommodation on this tour is a very, very high standard. So that's part of why the price is at the price that it is. It probably should be even more. But as someone that's really sort of come to doing this as being a lover of travel, I genuinely always try to keep the price as low as possible. But the accommodation in Bali and on the places where we stay, which you'll see as we go through, is of a really high standard. So, and lots of different activities included. They're all listed there, but there's about 11 different activities. There's 1 or 2 optional extras, but they're more in there as optional extras because you may just feel like you've done enough. So we don't include them because if not everyone wants to do them, or for example, there's a big temple visit right on the last day. And sometimes people go, oh, do you know what? I've just got to this beautiful hotel and I just feel like relaxing actually. So we've taken those out just to keep the overall price down. But there are 1 or 2 optional extras, but most of the activities are all packed in and are all included, and all the transfers and everything as well. So here's just a few little overview pictures that you can see on the website. And then just as that's me with all the local Balinese people, just meeting them to put together this trip. And then you can see here the map. So this is where we actually travel on the tour. So we fly into Denpasar, which is Bali's main airport, but then we go straight up to Ubud. So we're kind of straight out of the main tourist spot where everyone else just stays. Ubud is a popular spot, people do head there, but we go straight up to Ubud, and then we go to a place that basically no other group tour operator comes to. And this, I only discovered this place in Bangli, which is not too far away from Ubud, but it feels like a million miles away. That's like you really are properly in the middle of proper Bali then. When I was traveling around there and I told Balinese people, so where have you been? Where have you come from? And I told them I'd been to Bangli, they were all really impressed. They were like, oh wow, really? You've like seen real Bali. So that's nice. I'll talk more about what that's like. And then from there, so that's a couple of kind of inland Bali stops. And then from there, we travel to our first island, which is Nusa Penida, which is very close to the coast of Bali. And we have a couple of nights there. And then we travel over to the Gili Islands, to Gili Trawangan, which is actually part of neighboring Lombok. So it's not actually in Bali. So it's another Indonesian island that the Gili Islands belong to. Obviously, you can see they're not very far away. And then from there we then head back to mainland Bali, and we stay again in a less touristy area, but it's called Jimbaran, and that's where all the hotels are beautiful, but we always finish in style on Travel Queen tour. So the last hotel is kind of, you know, knock your socks off, luxurious, beautiful pools and things like that. So that's where we end the tour. So I will just talk you through what we do on our itinerary. I'll just make this a bit smaller so it's a bit more focused. So you'll have seen just there, I'll just flash back. So these are pictures of the last tour that we had, just meeting you at the airport. So there's a lovely tradition in Bali of giving you flowers as you arrive. So we arranged all of that. That's me meeting Kim and Vix, who'd flown in a little bit earlier. So we meet you at the airport. Either I'll meet you at the airport, or if I've already met one group and then had to travel with them to the hotel, we'll have our Balinese guide there ready to meet you and do the same. And then they'll bring you to the hotel and we'll meet there. And then, so this is the full group that we had last time with our flower garlands ready to go. So it's a really nice welcome to Bali, get you in the mood. And then this is our hotel where we head to in Ubud. So I checked out loads of different hotels in Ubud, but for me, this is kind of what you picture when you think of Bali. So you think of kind of rainforest and those gorgeous pools, flowers everywhere. And I always choose places that are very, very Balinese. So to me, if we're in a destination, we want to feel like we're in that destination, not just in it might be a beautiful hotel, but if somewhere super modern, you know, with kind of white walls and stuff like that, you don't really see any places like that on this tour. So these are the rooms here. So we have some kind of upper rooms, which have balconies overlooking the jungle. And then we have some lower rooms, which are right by the pool as well. So we go straight to here on day one from the airport. I love this picture. This is all this wasn't staged. They just did this. They all had their robes that are in the room that are included, and they just kind of got together hanging out by the pool. And it's only a small hotel as well, so it's sometimes it just feels like there's only us there. There's a few other people who usually want to get involved with us and think what's going on here. But yeah, all the ladies on the last trip there in their nice pink robes. So this is the pool, so you'll get a chance to kind of get there, and after your flight, just have a nice dip in the pool and just, it's just a nice thing to do after you've been on a plane for a time. And also some of the people last time on other tours, there's usually a mixture of people arriving on the actual day, but some also arrive maybe the night before and just kind of go to a hotel either near the airport. The airport's quite close to the main touristy area. So some people will, someone else has joined. Let them in. So some people will stay the night before, just kind of, crash and have a sleep after the flight, and then we can pick you up. As long as you're kind of near the airport, we can arrange that as well to pick you up from your accommodation too. So that's another option. But it means that once you get to this hotel on the first day, you can just, hop in the pool, have some nice Balinese. They have lovely Balinese cocktails, or just like some really nice fresh fruit juices and smoothies and things like that. It's a nice thing to do after your flight. So we have a bit of time there. There's just some pictures of past groups on tour. And then these are the rooms. So this is one of the upper rooms. This was my room when I last stayed there. So these are the sort of fairly standard. So we don't just show you like the best ones that you can have. This is typically what your balcony would look like. So you're literally looking out over the jungle. As you can see the sun coming through. Nice little kind of spots on your balcony to sit and relax. And then the rooms are very it's like a luxury resort, but they're very typical Balinese style decor inside as well. Just going to say hello. Heidi, hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah. Oh, this is our Heidi. Heidi, we know. I wasn't sure when I just saw Heidi flash up. Hi, Heidi. How are you? Good?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah, sorry for joining you late. But,
no problem. Glad you could join us. I wasn't sure. Sometimes you see a name pop up. So Heidi's been on a couple of our tours already before. You've been to Thailand and in January last year, wasn't it? And then Vietnam and Cambodia in October as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, working your way through Southeast Asia. So you just missed a little bit, but we're still only on day one. You know what I'm like? I can't stop talking about the places. And so this is just the hotel that I'm talking through in Ubud, where we go to once you've arrived in Bali. So just flip through here. Oh, it's me having my breakfast. But yeah, there's quite a bit of time. So we have a couple of days here. So these are the kind of the ground floor ones as well. Nice little, as you can see, very, very lush kind of rain. You feel like you're in the middle of the rainforest because you are. So we have a little bit of time at the resort. And obviously if people are arriving at slightly different times, we'll give you an idea of what time to arrive by that you can work around. And so we have a little bit of time at the resort, get checked into the rooms, a little bit of chill time in the pool. And then we go straight into heading out into Ubud itself. So Ubud is a busy and touristy part of Bali, but for good reason. So it's a beautiful place to walk around. You'll take about 1 million pictures just on the first hour of walking around. So everywhere is filled with, it's a very, very cultural heart, and there's loads of art galleries and loads of little yoga studios, really interesting place to just walk around and look in the shops and things like that. And there's just loads of beautiful little doorways and temples like this one, just kind of every few steps, really, as you're exploring. So we take you around Ubud Centre, show you a little bit of that. There'll be a bit of free time to go off and wander yourself, lots of little craft markets and things. But then I also take you on like a guided tour through the rice fields, which all of a sudden you're in Ubud in the center, and then we go into this little rice fields walk, which again just suddenly feels like you're in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of tucked away, so if you didn't know it was there, you could very easily miss it. So this is Hannah on the little rice fields tour. So you go through here, all these beautiful little doorways everywhere. It's such a colourful. That's nice. I'll go back to that. It's such a colourful, vibrant place, Bali. So this is just literally, sometimes there's like a major temple to go and see, and other times it's just a doorway, you know, you think, where does this lead? It's so extravagant. But yeah, there's lots of different beautiful spots. You'll end up with lots of pictures of close-ups of doorways, like I did. But yeah, beautiful little places. So we take you on a guided tour to show you where everything is, but then there's a bit of time to explore as well. This is just my picture I took when I was walking through the rice fields as well. There was you get to see kind of local people just working the rice fields as well. And so it's kind of not for show. They're genuinely there, you know, kind of looking after their rice fields. And this lady was just, she ended up taking me on I followed her to find the way to go on a little walk through the rice fields. This is our group on the last tour as we were having a little wander. And then we stop at a beautiful little cafe as well, because it's a little bit of exploring, but then we stop in this beautiful kind of cafe with this huge thatched roof in the middle of the rice fields as well, have a little breathe. Obviously it's quite warm, so you need little pit stops for drinks and refreshments. And then if you're interested, you can go to the monkey forest. So this is not a zoo of any description. It's actually in Ubud. And in Bali, there are a lot of monkeys. So when they were building Ubud, they decided, so in Bali, like, you know, the animals and things like that are considered very sacred. So they genuinely just created a space where the monkeys could congregate while they were obviously developing other parts of Ubud. So this is monkey forest. So you can just go to this forest and you will see monkeys. If you don't want to see monkeys, then you can avoid monkey forest. You might see them in other little parts around the town, but they tend to concentrate in this kind of forest area where it's less built up. But yeah, you definitely will see monkeys if you go to monkey forest. And if you're lucky, you might see some baby ones. And then this is the sunset in the rice fields where we take you to. Oh, that's back to the beginning. So I'll just close that. So that is just day one. So just arriving, lots of nice time chilling out in the resort, and then exploring Ubud together, get a nice feel for Bali. And then the next day, these pictures, I leave these to kind of just play sometimes, because otherwise we'll be here all night if I talk through every stop, because I get very passionate about the tour itself. But one of the big things we do is on day two, we kind of have a full immersion in Balinese, you know, culture and the spiritual side of Bali. So you will get to see the rice fields away from kind of the center, so like the iconic kind of rice terraces of Bali. You'll have a Balinese breakfast. I feel like this needs some attention, so I'm just going to click on this. Maybe I'm not going to click on it. No, website's not helping me. So basically you'll have breakfast in the morning. So the standard little bowl that you just saw a moment ago with all the beautiful sort of fruits, and that's just the breakfast that's included on this tour. But you can also choose to try out the floating breakfast, which is a thing that I'd never even heard of before going to Bali, but it's a thing where you can try the floating breakfast. It's great fun, and they give you far too much, so you can definitely share one with someone else on the trip. But yeah, so that's how we start off the day. And we also do yoga on the rooftop of our beautiful hotel as well. And then we spend some time making what they call offerings, called Chanang Sari, with the local Balinese ladies. So all over Bali, you will see lots of little offerings. They're made out of like coconut and banana leaf, and they're just full of flowers. So when you say offerings, it sounds a bit sinister, doesn't it, Lena? Because it's not anything strange. It's just basically something that they make every day, and they put them at the entrances to businesses, hotels, doorways. They have them in the taxis. They just have them everywhere, and it's just part of life that they every day. These are them flashing up now. Will make them and as part of offerings to the gods, as part of their daily prayer. But they're also really pretty, and it's just nice to spend the time with the local Balinese ladies and produce these, and they show us how to do them, as you can see. And then this is at the temple, so we actually take the offerings with us when we go to the temple where we do the purification ceremony. So these are the pictures that are flashing up at the moment. So a purification ceremony, again, is completely optional. People can choose to do it or not. No one's ever not chosen not to do it. And it's something that even if you're not religious, it's based in Hindu culture, but it's a massive part of Balinese culture. And it's the belief that you basically go and effectively bathe in the waters at a holy temple. And they do it quite regularly. It's not a tourist thing. It's become a tourist thing in some parts. But they basically believe that by, bathing in this water, or effectively kind of what is like a waterfall, kind of just having a little dip in there, is kind of washing away any negativity, which is all different ways and connotations to think about what that is. So it can be quite a personal thing. It's something that I tried out myself, and I was just checking it out for the tour, but it actually found it to be, if you do it in the right places, in true Balinese places where there's not hordes of tourists posing with their iPhones, then you get like a really, really beautiful experience. And we have an actual priest that shows us the ropes and how it all works. They give you the robes, you go into the water, and you can basically have a little dip. It depends up to you how much you want to get in, but then they'll come and do like a little blessing as well afterwards. It's usually quite a special experience. Sometimes people get a bit emotional, but it's usually like a nice feeling afterwards. And we go somewhere really unique to do this. We don't go to where the masses go, because that is literally a little bit like Instagram versus reality. So when you get there, there's huge queues of people, and it's more about getting your picture than it is about the experience itself. But that is something that I would highly recommend taking part in. It's quite a special highlight of the Bali trip. So we do all these different activities, and we take you around. It's all planned in advance. And again, you can opt in. If you don't feel like getting up early to do yoga, that's absolutely fine. You can decide to do that or not. But yeah, there's all sorts of different activities to choose from. And then after that, we have some time at the rice terraces to have lunch, and then go back to our beautiful resort in the jungle as well. Has anyone got any questions about the purification side just while we're on that? Because that's usually something that people have questions about. Has anyone ever done anything like that before?
Yeah, no, it looks really good.
It is really good. And
it looks amazing.
Yeah, it's just very it's trying to get across, because it's something that you hear about if you ever do the Bali trips and stuff, but it really is we do it very differently, because I've experienced both, and they're just worlds apart. To actually go where there's genuinely other Balinese people going and having this experience, and not, I know we're tourists as well, we're there and being tourists, but it's just a more authentic experience. So yeah, it's really kind of nicely done, and you can kind of make it how you want it. If you're not religious, you can just use it and think, oh, I've had a rough year, I just need to get rid of some of this. Or you can kind of go deeper with it, and speak to the priest and things like that. So
I did have a quick question, Mel.
Yeah.
About the purification ceremony. So the Balinese people are quite welcoming about tourists taking part in that, even though it's their religion, right? So we wouldn't offend them by
not at all.
I'm Christian, so I don't want to get the wrong way.
Yeah, no, not at all. In fact, the first time I did it, I asked that question because I'm not religious myself. I don't have a religion. And I said, is it okay that I'm not Hindu? To say, they say, absolutely. They see it as one of the things I absolutely love about Bali is the people. Like, genuinely, the first time I went back to Southeast Asia, I think it was after COVID, and just the welcome, the nature of how everyone welcomed me. There was one point I was just almost in tears, because I was like, this is just so authentically, genuinely happy that you're there in their country and embracing their culture. And particularly if you kind of go to the places where we go, because they know you're then serious about doing it properly, rather than just there. I mean, obviously we take pictures, we try and capture the experience for you, so you can concentrate on, having the experience yourself. So I'm always there in the background taking loads of pictures, but subtly, without kind of interfering too much in what's going on. But no, they genuinely they love, and obviously to them it's a very important part of their life. So they see it as great that other people can also benefit from this and feel good afterwards. And it's not seen as, oh no, you can't take part in this if you're not of this religion, or something like that.
That's amazing. Thank you.
So that's only day 2. So then in complete contrast, so we go back to our hotel in the jungle afterwards, and then on the next day we have a complete contrast. So this is our jeep tour. one of my absolute highlights of this trip. And again, quite different. So it is in Jeeps, open top Jeep tours. You don't have to stand up in the open top Jeep if you don't want to, or you can stand up for a little bit. I highly recommend standing up. It's brilliant. So a little bit of adventure, but it's also like you're kind of seeing all sorts, but you're basically being driven around. So you can just see all the pictures flashing up there of the women on the tour. So we do go to the lava fields. We get to get out and see the volcano up close. We go to waterfalls, hiking through the jungle. Relatively easy hikes as well. Can be a bit on a warm day, it's a bit of effort, but it's not like a really strenuous 5-hour hike or anything scary like that. So there's lots of little stops throughout the day as well. So we go down and check out the waterfalls. These are obviously the pictures on the Jeep. But you pass loads of rice fields as well. So that picture there that just flashed up, I got out and I was just looking at them from the side and I wanted to take a picture, and I asked my Bali guide who I was with, it says, okay, and this lady came over to me. She was like, they're all just really interested because we go to areas where there's not so many tourists. So we always ask, is it okay to take a picture? And they were really keen. They all stopped work and came over to say hello. So these are all real pictures from the trip. And one of my favorite things about why the Jeep tours are great, other than just a bit of adventure and you go off-road and you go through all the jungle and everything, but actually as you go through the Balinese villages, because it's not something, obviously they have a Jeep tour and there's not tons of Jeep tours, but we go through these areas and all like the people in the villages, especially the kids, are like, oh my God, hi, or all like waving. They're just like really happy to see you. So you feel like you're genuinely seeing how local people live as well. And because you're in the Jeep tour, you can kind of see quite a bit more. So you can see into like the setups of Balinese homes are quite open. So they have like, they call them compounds, which sounds strange, but they have like their little entranceway and then they have kind of like different areas, but it's quite open. So you see quite a lot in terms of how local people live as well on this trip. So that's a full day trip, but how we do it is it picks us up from our hotel in Ubud. We also get to try some coconut rice wine and go to a Balinese home, and they try local fruits and stuff like that. And then we kind of do the journey, and then it drops us off at our next accommodation. So it's a full day trip, but there's not, you're straight into the experience, and then at the end of the day, you're at our next hotel, which is this place, which is just popping up on the screen. So then this is Bangli that I mentioned earlier. So again, this is very, very unique, very different to what you'll see on a typical Bali group tour. So we stay in these rice barns in Bangli, which is a small village. And you step out of your, these are the aerial pictures of it here. So you step out of the huts and there's just rice fields. You can see like the volcano in the distance. You get beautiful sunrises and sunsets there. There's also loads of little areas, a little pool, places. This is just my pictures from the window of the sunrise in the morning. Absolutely beautiful and very, very peaceful there as well. So we stay there for 2 nights, and we also, these pictures that are flashing up at the moment are of the temple that we go to. So we go to, it's called Besaki Temple, and it's one of the most important temples in Bali. It'll pop back up again in a minute. But we basically go there, and as you go, it's not just an incredibly beautiful spot. You can see all the ladies on the steps here. And it's kind of built up where the volcano's in the distance, so there's all different levels to it. And we have whenever we're doing the activities like that, we have a local Bali guide with us. Obviously, I'll be there as the tour leader for the trip, looking after you from Travel Queen's perspective. But we always have an actual local Balinese guide to kind of tell you the stories about why the places are important for local people. And also, while you are there, you will see lots of Balinese people visiting that temple, with their own offerings. There's usually like little parades going through. All the women have like fruits. They have there's the mini offering, but when they go to Besaki Temple, they go to town, and they're like huge kind of baskets full of flowers and fruits and things like that. And they have their own, and there are certain parts of the temple that are reserved for, pure Balinese people kind of carrying out their culture and going through the different ceremonies that you can kind of see, but we don't go into some of those as the main tourists. But we go to like loads of different parts of the temple and get a feel for that. But our guide will explain what's happening, what they're doing. There's all different parts of the temples that are linked to different families in Bali, and it's very interesting. I won't attempt to get into it all now because it's just too much. But that's something that we do on this day together. There's also the option on this day. This is an optional extra because it's obviously not everybody's cup of tea, but I highly recommend it if you fancy a little bit more adventure, as we go whitewater rafting. So it is suitable for beginners. It's quite advanced experience in terms of whitewater rafting, so it's not a gentle paddle. There are some actual rapids. But as you can see, most of the girls that did it last time have never done rafting before, but as you can see, they enjoyed the experience. We're very happy afterwards. These are some pictures of us rafting through, and you just pass through waterfalls all the time. You're right in the middle of the rainforest looking up and seeing everything. It's a really, really great activity to try, but that's an optional extra, and I think it usually works out about £40–50 if you want to do that extra. So you go for a few hours, but it's not a huge expense. But like I said, we don't include it as standard because it's not something everyone will want to do. And if you don't go and do that, we still obviously go and see the temple together. And you just get a bit more time to relax at this resort. So we have a couple of days there. And then we've obviously done all sorts already, but we're only on day 4. So then on day 5 and 6, we head to our first island, which is Nusa Penida. And this is the place I mentioned earlier with the beautiful little Balinese-style bungalows on the beach. So this is just some of the carvings and stuff that you see. We're right on the beach. This is the little pool area. There's just like beautiful flowers everywhere. These are just some pictures of the past travel queens in the pool. More carvings. And then when we're there, we head to this spot. So this is quite a famous, iconic view in Bali. It's called Kling Beach, and this is Broken Beach. So we go here, but we go, another great thing about this trip is a lot of people that go to Nusa Penida only go as a day trip. So they'll just stay in Bali and they'll book a day trip, you know, in the main tourist street. They'll book a trip to Nusa Penida to see these sites. So basically we go when they've all gone home. So the beauty of staying on the island is it's a beautiful island anyway, but it also means that we can time our visits to these kind of very popular spot, what have become very popular, at the best time. So we tend to time it around sunset, so you get to see it when the sun is fully out, and then as the sun comes out as well. Sorry, as the sun starts to go down as well. So it means that the tourists tend to peter off a little bit and it's much quieter. So it's a nicer, calmer experience. These are just some pictures of the girls having drinks after resort, and then you see some more pictures of Nusa Penida. This is the volcano that you can see in the distance just opposite our resort, and that's on Lombok. Chocolate lava cake, which is a thing, volcanoes, lava cake, you see it everywhere in Bali. It's one of those, so just to warn you, you're going to eat a lot of chocolate lava cake if that's your thing. But yeah, beautiful little resort, some more pictures flashing up here. And then what you'll have seen before that popped up is also the snorkeling. So we have, when we first get there, we have loads of time to chill out in this beautiful pool area, which again, it's not a huge resort, so often it feels like we're mainly the only people there. You'll see a few other people there. But we tend to not take over, you know, we're not too rowdy and we don't want to spoil it for anybody else, but it kind of feels a bit like it's our resort when we're there. Which is really nice. But then, so on the first day, we get to go to this place to check out Kling Beach and some of the beautiful coastline, which is particularly stunning in Nusa Penida, kind of cliff edges and stuff like that, really dramatic kind of coastline. But then we also go snorkeling the next day, and the snorkeling is brilliant in Nusa Penida. I've done a lot of snorkeling in different places and I dive as well. And I would say one of the stops that we go to is one of the best places for just seeing tons of fish like this, like just straight at the boat. And also manta rays. This blew me away because I've never seen manta rays anywhere else. And we literally hopped out of the boat and I was like, everyone put your head in the water now. There's one right here. Obviously you don't have to get in if you don't want to, if you're thinking, oh, you probably will find Nemo. There he is. There's all sorts of different pictures and fish floating around, but there's a very, very easy snorkeling spot. So if you're not used to snorkeling, there's one, the spot where we see the manta rays is deeper. So sometimes people say, I'm not sure, I don't want to jump in the ocean here. It seems a bit deep. Or you can just jump in and stay next to the boat. You don't have to go far. And I do all of that with you. So I'll be in the water too. And then we have a local guide too, who's used to knowing what they're doing. But then there's also an easier snorkeling spot where you can just hop out of the boat and it's a lot shallower. The water's a lot clearer because it's shallower, and you can just see tons and tons of little, tropical fish. So that's another activity we have there. And then back to our little bungalows to chill out, and we just walk down the beach and find other little bars and stuff like that, and just have a nice, catch the sunset. So that's our time in Nusa Penida. And then from there, we head to a second island. So this is the Gili Islands. And here come the turtles, brace yourselves. And so this is, so we do. So these are all real pictures. These are my pictures of things, just to clarify. We go snorkeling together. We have our own boat again, so we can say this is how long we want here. It's not like 20 minutes you're in and you're out on next stop. It's kind of like me saying, no, we want longer here. We found turtles. Leave us alone. We found turtles. We want to, or if we don't find some, which has never happened because it's actually a point where the local people know where they tend to hang out. So we've never not seen turtles. But if for some reason, or because it's a private trip, it means we can say, oh, that's strange. If they're not culminating in the usual place, we'll head to another spot. So we're basically in charge of what we see and do. Some of the other pictures that are just flashing up are just kind of like evenings in Gili Tea. So lots of kind of chilling out on the beach, deck chairs. This is kind of I keep clicking on these because I want to actually open them, but not letting me. But yeah, you can actually walk around the island of Gili Tea in about an hour. Well, it would never take you'd always be longer than an hour because you'd be stopping and seeing all the little things on the way, and you see lots of hammocks strung between trees. But that's something you can choose to do, with a few of you together, or you could just take yourself off and just have a walk around the island by yourself. You can also hire bikes and do that. But yeah, you can see all the pictures of everyone enjoying the snorkeling flashing up. So there's lots of, so we spend 3 days on this island, which to me is just the perfect amount of time because one afternoon we go off and do the snorkeling together. Other times people have free time and like say want to explore the island. It's just nice to just sit there and chill out and soak up the views, to be honest, and lots of nice little places to go for dinner. These are just some hammocks that I found. And then there's a few little spots. It's not like there is a side to the island that's there's a party side if you want it, but there's loads of areas that are not like that. There's like a dedicated center where it's a little bit livelier. And then there's other areas. So if you think I love this island, but I don't want that, I don't want any of the kind of the music and stuff, you can head out of it and then just literally feel like you're in a tropical island in the middle of nowhere, well away from any of that. But absolutely beautiful. I know, Maya, you've been here before, haven't you? You're excited to go back here.
Yes, I have been here. It was honestly amazing. I think I was saying to Emily and Mel that it just feels like you're literally on a desert island. Like obviously they have loads of cool like restaurants and bars, but it's just so peaceful and you can just lie there in a hammock and just soak it all up. I loved it.
It's beautiful, and the sand is beautiful. And we stay in a resort which is literally, you step out and there's a little pool, and then you step, I say it's not a road because there are no roads on this island. There's like a little trail that you can walk along into like the main sort of center, but you step out and then the beach is just right there. So we tend to have dinner there some nights. But you're a few steps from our place and you're on the beach basically with these kind of views. So yeah, it's a really beautiful spot to head. And we always try and include a destination where it's really easy to walk around and explore. So what you tend to get is a few ladies will go and do this together, a few ladies will go and do that, and then you just kind of bump into each other, back at the pool. There's also a really cool so you saw some of the pictures flash up of some of the girls doing like a flower bath. So it's another Bali thing. I've never, well, obviously heard of bathing in flowers, but it sounds like something that's reserved for something really fancy. But yeah, you can go to this very cheap place, which is, in terms of what you'd expect to pay at a really fancy spa. There are fancy spas as well, but this is like quite a very reasonable price place where they do the flower baths, and you can see it's overlooking the water and everything. So if you've never tried that, I would recommend it. Just feel a bit, just feel a bit special and jump in a bath. So you can do it as fun. You can go and obviously you be a swimwear and share it with someone else if you want to have a bit of a laugh doing it, or you can obviously take yourself off and just have a bit of you time as well.
Something I loved about Gili Tea as well is the sunsets.
Oh yeah,
they're just incredible. And there's this, I don't know if you went, Mel, but it was kind of on like the other side of the island.
yeah.
It's that kind of like it's only really one bar because it is like still quite like deserted really, and that one was just amazing. Sitting there, listening to the music while watching it go down, it was just the best experience for me.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I think because you're so close, you're just right on the beach as well. So yeah, the sunsets are incredible, and they're not stupid. They know exactly how to set it up for the perfect place to sit while you watch the sunsets. All the bean bags, and they'll just bring you out drinks and stuff. And then obviously, like when the stars come out at night, because it's clear and because you're on this little island that's kind of, you know, away from the mainland, you do tend to get incredible stars and things as well that come out at night. So yeah, it has a livelier side, but there's also parts like that, like Maya, like you said, if you head away from the main bit, you could just literally feel a million miles from anywhere and just kind of sit there and soak it up. So yeah, a beautiful, beautiful place to head to. You can see the 3 islands there. So there's 3 Gili Islands. Gili T is the largest one, but that's kind of in terms of getting a sense of where you are in relation to anything else. Yeah, beautiful little spot. But yeah, usually the highlight of that is seeing the turtles as well, of the snorkeling. And also there's other things to see. There's still other snorkeling, other fish. You can see this flash up on the screen. This is just off one of the other islands. It's called Gili Meno. There are a series of statues just under the water, which you can just kind of see there. So that's really easy to get to as well. You don't have to dive, you know, to see that. You can literally see it from just popping your head in the water. So yeah, very special little spot. So that's Gili T, Gili Trawangan, or Gili T, which is a little bit easier to say, that we spend a few days there. And then from there, we then head back to our final stop. But again, we have like another couple of days here and a couple of nights. So we head back to the mainland, and then this is our kind of you know, luxury hotel. So it's 5-star. It's one of the most sought after hotels in Bali because of its position on the coastline. So there's about 7 different pools or something, but this is probably the best one I would recommend. And no offense to children, but it's not, it's adult only. So if you just want to kind of head down there, and there's all these little kind of cabanas and stuff where you can lounge, and again, it just feels like you're just there overlooking the sea. And then this little thing popping up at the moment are pictures of Uluwatu temples. This is an option. If you're still hungry for more, seeing more sights and things you can see, you can go to Uluwatu temple. Again, we have a local guide that takes you. And there's this amazing Kecak dance performance, which is, there's lots of these to choose from when you're in Bali. But they've put on a full performance, and there's dancing and there's kind of dressing up, and it's always like telling stories from Hindu culture, but it's fascinating to see. I'd highly recommend it. Again, the only reason we used to include that as standard, but then some people, because they got to this stage and they've done so much, they were like, I just want to relax at this beautiful hotel actually. So you can go off and do that if you want to. But yeah, there's plenty to see and do just at this resort. So again, while we're there, there's chill out time, but we always have a plan. So usually I recommend people go down to this spot, which is the beach. Again, it's a bit tucked away, so you wouldn't necessarily know it's there. There's all the different pools, but I usually say, right, well, on this day, if you want to join us, we're all going to head down to this area on the beach, and I recommend a time that we go so we can actually get us all on some sun lounges and stuff like that. And so we kind of plan to spend that time together, so you're not just kind of left to your own devices. But if you want to, you can do. You can go off and explore by yourself. And then there's what's called the Bali Rock Bar, which is part of the hotel, and it's quite famous in Bali. People just come to this bar just for the scenery, really. So these are the views from it. So this is the private beach, and then you get basically like a little bar and restaurant, but set in the cliffside. So that's usually where we spend our last evening. It's again to catch our final sort of beautiful sunset in Bali, and then there's just a little bit of music on and stuff. These are the rooms that are just flashing up at the moment as well. So I know there's also a bit too much to all soak in all at once, with everything that's going on and with all the things flashing up. We'd be here, I could talk about this for about 3 hours, to be honest, this tour. But yeah, there's huge amount of variety in there, lots to choose from, staying in some beautiful accommodation, but hopefully you can tell from that as well. A few different chances to try some things that can be a little bit of adventurous, but huge amount of stuff where you can get to soak up real Balinese culture. This is just, it's just a little video that we did earlier. And then on the website as well, you've also got little things like this. So I've done like a separate little blog, which is like 19 struggled to fit them into that, but in highlights of the tour. So if you just want to go from a different angle and kind of read the blog, you can that kind of summarizes things. So it'll mention all the different cultural stuff together. It'll mention all the different places where we do things like go to temples. It'll mention all the different chances you get to go into the rice fields, because there's more than one. We don't just have one day where we go. There's lots of different flavors of that throughout the trip. So I'll stop sharing my screen now. So what do we think? Do we think that we like the idea of Bali? Absolutely perfect. So I hope you all like that. So if you've got any questions about any of that, now's your time. If you have any questions, it could be about the itinerary, it could be about any practical things, how the group works, things like flights, anything like that. So sometimes it's a bit like, can't think of anything because there's so much information. But if you have any questions about anything, please feel free to ask away.
What kind of temperature is it normally?
One at a time, one at a time. I didn't hear who went first there, but I heard a lot of voices. Amy, did you have a question there? I think I did. I
think Izzy was about to say something.
Oh, I was going to say, what kind of temperature is it normally that time of year?
So again, because we're a relatively small company, whenever we run our tours, they are basically the best times to go. So some group tour companies will just run them all year round, and you still have a great experience, but the weather can change quite a lot. So between June and September, and a bit longer, so a bit of a longer season, but generally our summer, and I would say June, is probably the absolute best time to go. So in terms of that, what I mean by that, it's always warm in Bali, not crazy hot. You'll get like kind of some, cool breezes and things like that, and a little bit cooler, or not. It's not like Cambodia as a place where it's just always super hot, like really hot. So Bali tends to be, nice and warm. You'll not be cold. You definitely won't be cold. And you tend to get a mixture. So you'll get some really sunny days that you can see from those pictures. Sometimes it might get a little bit overcast. So you get a little bit which sometimes is nice. You get a little bit of a break from the direct sunlight. But June is the absolute best time to go because it's the least chance of rain. You'll always get kind of a chance of rain in tropical destinations, which are rainforests, with lots of rainforests. So that's always a possibility. It's actually quite nice to experience, if you get to experience some of it. One of my favorite things, particularly in Ubud, is if it rains there and you're on the balcony and it's just, you can just hear the rain coming down, and it's kind of part of the experience. But obviously we don't want too much rain. We want to kind of, stay away from that. So the rainy season is actually, it's kind of opposite for people that have Heidi, you've been to Thailand and stuff before. Whereas Thailand's dry season is like November to April, it's kind of opposite for Bali. It's not that far away, but it's completely different. First time I ever went to Bali was the end of November, December, thinking it would be similar to Thailand, and had quite a lot of rain. So yeah, I spoke to local people and said, when's the best time? And they were like, yeah, June, July, August, September. Probably May as well, but not quite as warm. So yeah, that's why we run the tour at that time. So yeah, your best chance of dry, sunny days. But if you're lucky, you'll get a little bit of rain as well, just to experience that. So, but yeah, nice temperatures. Obviously,
how do you travel from from one place to the other? Do you fly, or is it like by boat, or how do you?
So what's nice about this trip is there's not a huge amount of travel. Obviously, we move around between the destinations, but for example, from the airport when you first land to Ubud, it's about an hour, maybe add on an extra half an hour if you hit a bit of traffic, depending on what kind of day it is. But any overland transfers are all private air-conditioned minivans just for us. So and if you were to arrive at the airport and you were at a very different time to anyone else, say your flight was just a particular one-off time, then you just have a private taxi. But for all the actual transfers, when we travel as a group between the destinations, it's always in our private air-conditioned minivan with my kind of one main local partner, who are fantastic. I would say of all the ones we work with, they're so good. And I obviously tried everything out with them first, and they drove me around everywhere, and the drivers are brilliant. And yeah, and we always have like a local guide with us when we're going to any of the temples and stuff. So they're with us on the minivan too. So that all the overland transfers, and then when we in that style, and then even when we go from obviously when we go from Ubud to Bangli, we're doing the Jeep tour anyway, so it's a full day tour, but not because of the distance. It's more just because we go and see loads of different destinations and things along the way. But then if we were to just drive, it would probably be about another hour from Ubud to Bangli, so not too far, and less traffic there as well. And then when we travel from Bangli over down to the pier to get our first boat, I would say that's, again, probably about an hour and a half, but can take a little bit longer. Sometimes the traffic in Bali can be a thing because it's just, if you're in busy areas at peak times, or the last time we went, there was a huge parade on, but it's quite nice. You can just sit and look out the window and watch all the Balinese people like filling. There's just always something happening at the temples there. But they're not huge distances. We don't have any like 5-hour drives or anything like that, in the minivans. And then in terms of the boats, they're not private, but then they're quite small. So like the first island hop from the mainland of Bali to Nusa Penida is about 30 minutes by speedboat. So that's a really short hop. And then the longest journey that we have by boat is from a speedboat, but a slightly bigger speedboat. They call them speed ferries. Quite short. It doesn't look like a ferry to me at all, because I tend to avoid ferries because I think, huge ferries traveling with a mass is quite slow. But yeah, they call them speed ferries. But yeah, they're a bit bigger than the smaller speedboats. But that journey varies, again, just varies depending on like sea conditions, but usually between about 2.5 hours, 3 hours max. And that's between sort of Nusa Penida and Gili. That stretch where you can tell it was obviously a short hop from Bali to Nusa Penida, and then you've got that longer distance from there to Gili, and then back from there to Bali. So that's kind of the longest journey that we have.
Not too long then, is it really?
No.
No.
Not too long, and again they're air conditioned. You're in a proper seat and everything like that. So yeah, that's and I've done those trips sometimes, and we've sat up on the deck, like you can sit in the sun and get drinks and stuff like that as well. If it's a little bit choppier, then obviously you come downstairs and you just kind of like get in the air. You have a seat anyway. You're not kind of forced to sit up there. It's just people sometimes choose to just to be out and soak up the views and stuff. So that's the main travel. So there's not a huge amount. And then where we finish the tour in the hotel in Jimbaran, it's only about a 15-minute drive to the airport at the end as well. It's quite close to the airport. So again, you can kind of have as much time as you need to. If your flight's a little bit later in the day, on that last day, you can kind of soak up time at the resort before you leave as well. So not too much travel on this particular trip, which is nice.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Did I see that the June tour is going to be the last tour that you do, Mel?
Yeah, so sorry, Heidi, you probably missed that at the beginning.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I don't mean like, I just mean I was thinking before, I'm not sure of what have I not mentioned. So yeah, so obviously now, like I've got Oi running our Thailand tour, so I've met a Balinese lady who will be fantastic to run our tours. But I'm hoping that to have her in place, she'll probably come with us on the June tour. So she'll be there as well. So we'll have even more people looking after us. But she's brilliant. She's great fun. And on the last tour, all the ladies were in the little minivan, and she was teaching us. I mean, I can teach you a little bit, but it's much nicer to hear it from someone Balinese. She was teaching everyone how to say all the different, how to say hello, Om Swastiastu, and like getting like a little language lesson just as we were traveling to the hotel. So she'll probably come with us on the June tour as well. And as you know, like I've done with Oi, I would only ever have someone else run the trip if I'm 100% happy with everything and they do things with it. Obviously they know how to be a Bali guide, but they kind of do things as I like them to do it and do things as I would normally kind of take care of people. So yeah, that is the plan, that the June tour, feels a bit sad saying that the June tour will not hopefully, because I love running the trip, but in terms of just other things, other business stuff, will be probably the last one that I will run. And then she will pick them up and run from September onwards. And also, you might have missed that on the June tour as well, I've asked Emily and Maya, who obviously you've met, so they're coming with me on the June tour. So all three of us will be on the June trip, which is obviously quite a one-off. I know went to Croatia and Balkans, and they met Izzy at the end of in October last year. But yeah, all three of us are going, because I was suddenly like, oh, hang on a minute, this is my last one. Like they're not going to get to see it, in the future. Obviously, we'll go back and check these tours out in the future, but obviously we're only a small business, so trying to make the most of having some local guides set up. So yeah, that's why we're kind of having a little bit of a push and telling people that, because I know sometimes that affects people's decision, just because it's nice to get to know and meet the people that, you know, at least 3 people that are going to be on the trip. So yeah, is June a possibility for you, or is it too early to tell?
I don't think I'm going to be able to do June. I was looking more at the September one.
Yeah. Yeah, but like I say, if we have a Bali guide, then they're only going to be someone that I've kind of, you know, it's not just kind of, oh, we'll see who you get. They're going to be someone that I've been like, absolutely, like I've met her already and she was fantastic. I met another one who was also great, but just wasn't right. She didn't have the same, in terms of just like looking after the group, and wasn't quite as much fun, you know, in terms of like, I pride myself on seeing when people are enjoying themselves, or I've seen people are a bit tired. Sometimes you have to have a word with a local guide and say, okay, there's a lot of information, maybe just ease off now, like just break it down a bit. So yeah, so I've met one already and she was lovely, but wasn't quite right. But yeah, I have another one in mind who will hopefully come on the June tour. And she'll be fantastic as well. So, and then you get those extra perks as well of obviously having a local Bali guides with you, you know, different sides that they bring to it as well. So yeah. But so Izzy, I know you said you were thinking of possibly about the June one, because obviously you've got the 3 of us on there that you've met already.
Yeah, no, I think I mean either, but yeah, quite possibly the June one, I think.
Yeah, well, it would be lovely to have you back on the tour with us.
Yeah, I would love to see you again, Izzy.
Yeah, really nice.
Yeah, it really would. It would be so nice to see.
A reunion.
Yeah, and Amy obviously as well. I don't know if I can't remember if you said you were contemplating June or if it was more September. Or...
Yeah, I was looking at the dates, so that's like perfect for me. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. And I'm in the process of I've been made redundant by the end of this month, so I've got like I can just book my holidays whenever, sort of thing. So
I love the positive spin on that. You're like, I'm just going.
yeah,
That means I can book my holidays. Well, sorry to hear that, but like I say, sometimes
yeah,
flexibility at least, doesn't it? So
I've got that little bit of flexibility. Yeah, and I
yeah.
wanted to do something a little bit different. So hopefully I'll have a look at the website again and
Yeah.
investigate the flights as well. Yeah, how
Yeah.
much they cost and stuff. Weigh it all up. So yeah.
So yeah,
When
again,
do you need to know whether like when was there a deadline for when you need to know whether you're going or not?
yeah,
Or
I mean, the generally is so, because we're a small company, the deadlines tend to fall earlier than you might think that they would.
okay.
So because it's just better to know, the earlier we know, the better we can arrange stuff. So it might even be in about a month when the actual closing date is for the June Bali tour. So I can't actually remember off the top of my head, but like I say, it's earlier than you think it will be. And again, it's just what you tend to find again with Travel Queen, with the ladies that look on our tours, lots of people are like, oh yeah, I'm doing that one, but then they tend to put off booking just because I guess it's a big step to do it, and they're looking at flights, and if you're anything like me, things just seem ages off, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, we're in spring, and like suddenly we're in June. Obviously it's a June, so it's early summer. But yeah, so you tend to get like a few people booked on already, but then all of a sudden people just come out of nowhere. It's like, ironically as well, it seems to be when the sun starts to come out that people book more. You think it'd be when it was really bad weather, wouldn't you, like January and February? But I think sometimes it's like it makes them think, oh, summer's coming. Oh, hang on, I need to get my summer holiday booked. So yeah, so it's one of those where people often ask me, oh, is there still places? Is there still places? But like we literally had 4 bookings this morning on like one over across 2 tours. So we just, no one tells us that they're about to. They just suddenly kind of, come through. So it's always best to book as early as you can book, and then you've got a little bit longer to pay off the balance. And then, like I say, you can get the best deal with the flights then as well. Because of that reason, we always ask people to book their place before you actually book any flights. I know people like to suss that out and have a plan for what they're going to do. But it's always better. You get a better price with the flights the earlier you book them. And then we always ask people, to make sure you've got your place on the tour booked before you obviously book any flights, just in case we have a sudden rush and all the places go, because we do have quite small numbers really for group tours, kind of a maximum of 14. So it's surprising how quickly that can fill up. So
I'll have a look at Manchester airport flights, because obviously that's the best one locally.
Yeah, and just once you've had a look at that, you can decide if you want to kind of arrive the night before or arrive on the day. There's FAQs on the website and stuff. I think it says to arrive by around 12 p.m. or something on if you're arriving on the day. And that's just to give you enough time so you don't feel too rushed, you know, arriving at the hotel and missing out on kind of like we head off to Ubud in the evening, you know, to explore. So it's just so you don't feel too, you know, rushed and like you're having to get there, dump your bag and go straight out. You've got to kind of have a bit of time to, you know, jump in the pool and kind of relax a little bit and have a shower and stuff like that. And then another option with Bali is a lot of the flights, well, from anywhere, but particularly from the UK, tend to go via Singapore. So as an option that people sometimes have a stopover in Singapore. When we did the first trip, we did that and I kind of hosted it, but just logistically we can't quite go every time, unfortunately. But some of the ladies on the last tour, again, we use the Facebook group to kind of put people in touch with each other if they want to do this. Quite a few people had a stopover in Singapore and just arranged to meet up there, and a few of them stayed at that, you know, the Marina Bay Sands Hotel, the kind of famous one with the big infinity pool overlooking the view. So that's another option to stay, either if you were happy doing it by yourself, or like say you might be other women on the tour that are thinking about doing the same. So that's another option. We wouldn't be organising it as such, but we can certainly put you in touch with other people that might be interested in doing that as well. So another option to to float in. I was thinking, if you've got to stop somewhere,
not a bad stopover.
Yeah,
Singapore. Looks amazing, Singapore, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's quite easy to get, you know, to see quite a lot within a short stopover, I would say. It's not kind of getting there and then you don't need a week or anything like that. You know, you can kind of go to the main spot, the main sort of centre by the harbour and the skyline of Singapore. And even if you don't stay at Marina Bay Sands, it's quite pricey to stay there. But it's cool just to see it as well. And you can still go up, get close to Marina Bay Sands, and there's like a little walkway over to the famous gardens, you know, with all the kind of towers. You see the pictures of like the cloud forest and things like that, so you can go and see all that. It's quite easy to take yourself there, and obviously we can give you some tips about that if you were to end up going, you know, by yourself or meeting up with other ladies. And then you can stop by Raffles, have a Singapore sling. But it's quite easy to you know, to do that. Well, once you've got some tips which we could give you, it's not too daunting, you know, to do that by yourself. So another option to throw into the mix. I always think if you're stopping somewhere, it's nice to, you know, make the most of it. It feels like a free stop. It's not free stop because you're stopping, but you know, you've already got the flights there and then you're going somewhere else. So might as well break it up a little bit and see somewhere else. That's just me. I'm just going to check if there's any questions in the chat. So Lakshmi, I hope you've enjoyed listening to all that. If you do have any questions, you can pop them in the chat, which we've just got open here at the moment. So if you wanted to ask anything, or if anyone else has got any other questions about anything. Food in Bali. The food's great in Bali, I would say. It's not as spicy as Thailand.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Mel, like, do you have kind of set restaurants that you kind of pre-plan to book, or do you have like a few in mind, or like how do you
I have a few in mind, and then I have places that are you know, have as a plan to take us. So for example, when we go into Ubud on the first night, and again, people can do their own thing if they want to, but I always have a reservation at a certain place in Ubud because, again, when we go there, it's quite a busy place. So it's good to have a plan if you've got, you know, a group. So we go to, I forget the name of it, I'm sure it's just called Lotus Garden. But
there's so many nice places in Bali.
There's so many beautiful places. And it's good to try the real kind of Balinese food. So there's certain places. It's funny. It's one of those. You get a lot of Australian tourists going to Bali. So if you're not careful, some places you could go in and you think, oh, there's only like 3 Balinese things on this menu. You know, so it's good. You know, like just it's like anywhere that's catering for who's going. I mean, there's lots of local places as well, but it's nice to know. Like I've gone before and gone, right, this is a fantastic restaurant. The food's really good and there's a huge variety of proper Balinese food. And also choosing places that are just perfect to go with the group as well and part of the experience. So where we go in Ubud is a beautiful restaurant. The staff there are amazing. Like, you know, I'm always like, we all need to pay separately and we're all in a big group and sorry about that. But I've just seen a message pop up. Oh, thank you, Lakshmi. Thank you for joining us. Glad you enjoyed it. Hopefully just give us a follow on social media or something, or check out the website if you want to find out more. But yeah, so we and in that spot as well, that restaurant in Ubud, the food's amazing and real variety, but then it's also set overlooking a temple. So like as you're sat there, there's literally like lotus ponds outside and like a temple kind of lit up at night, and there's usually performances and things going on. So yeah, we choose places where it's, you know, an interesting place to go as well. And again, you can't always see that until you get in there.
Yeah, because there's so much choice, I guess, unless you have been and tried out so many, it's hard to know which ones are
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah, or sometimes if you get there with a group, if we have a full group size, it's not always
Yeah.
completely full, but if we have a full group, you know, there's like 14, so you have to kind of, it's better for it to be booked in advance, really, to make sure we've got space.
Well, I love nasi goreng, which is like a
Yeah.
traditional rice dish, so I'll definitely be having that when I go back in June.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, that's nice from Wagamama's. You know, it's not obviously the same kind of thing, but yeah, that food from Wagamama's, I like that kind of food.
Yeah,
So
no, I
is it
love
similar
it
to
too.
that, Maya? That type of food?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit different, but it's still that kind of style. I love all like the fresh food and the veg and the spices, and it's very flavoursome, which I love.
Yeah, and just tons of like fresh fruits and stuff as well, and like the smoothies and shakes and stuff. I love, yeah, the food.
Very healthy as well.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
really tasty, but really healthy, so you feel good.
I think that's like Bali just feels like everything there is set up for you to feel good, because like the food's fresh and healthy, the weather and all the little places just have like just feel so like spacious and bright, and when you get there you'll see, but it's just amazing. Like some of the structures are just wow, like how they even made that, and like it's just like all natural with like bamboo and like melted thatch roofs. It's just amazing.
So you've been, haven't you, mate? So your sister lives, I don't know if she's there right now, but she has spent time in Bali, and you went out and spent a few months, didn't you, with her? So
yeah, she's lived there for 7 years. So she's actually traveling now. She's actually in the UK now, at the moment. But she kind of has her own business, so she's chose to stay out there because I guess it's quite caters for like the nomadic kind of lifestyle, because a lot of like I guess people go out there that are interested in like yoga and things like that, which is what she does. So she naturally just kind of fell there really. But yeah, I went to stay with her for a few months and really got to experience like the Balinese culture. I think Mel, you were saying how literally the Balinese people are so friendly. Like you can just tell like everything they do is just to like make your life feel better. And she had some really close Balinese kind of that she felt like that were like kind of family that kind of like took her in, and I went to visit like their local houses in the villages and stuff. So I'm so happy that like we do that on this tour and being able to experience that side as well.
yeah, it's beautiful. And the what I love is one in the place that I mentioned in Bangli where we stay, the kind of more off in the rural village. It's actually, I was introduced to this and I said like, well, I'm not going to just choose it just because I'm working with you guys. So there was like a local Balinese travel agency who I work with to do all the transfers and arranging to like look after us when we're there. And the only reason I found out about this place in Bangli was because it's owned by the owner of that agency, who sits on like the Bali tourist board or something. Is quite important in the world of Balinese tourism. And he met me there and he showed me around, and I was like, this is beautiful, like it's really, and he's like on a bit of a mission to make sure people go to places like that as well as kind of the more tourist spots, and it's his home village. And actually while we're there we can go to a Balinese home and it's his mum and dad's home. I loved it. I went there and I like met them, and they came out to me. They were like, "Oh, who you met with us?" So everyone's thinking about Mr. Putu as this like big deal in Balinese tourism, and then I met Mr. Putu's mum and dad, and they were just like coming out, and so that was really cute. And they were like, "Oh, yeah, we've all lived here, and he used to live in that room there," and yeah, so it was really nice to kind of see, you know, like that side of it, and almost feel like you're seeing part of the community and doing what you're actually kind of helping out, you know, to kind of see that side of Bali as well, rather than just the main. Obviously we stay in some nice luxury places as well, but it's nice to kind of feel like you're helping some tourism in some of the kind of lesser known spots as well. So yeah, definitely. Is there any other questions about anything? You probably think of loads after the event.
Yeah.
Oh, this, oh, this, oh, this. That's normally what happens.
It all sounds amazing. I'm just like, it sounds incredible.
Good. I'm glad it gives you that vibe. I don't know if you already follow us on either Facebook. Obviously, you're in the Facebook group.
Yes.
But also follow if you actually follow the page, because I don't always share everything in the group because we don't want to kind of like hammer too much at you. But we are very active on social media, on the actual Travel Queen Facebook page and on Instagram. So what we tend to share, and we'll be sharing even more of now that we're coming up to the tour, are lots of little videos and things of the experience. So there's lots of videos on there of women enjoying past tours, which I've not shared today because one, there's enough to talk about, and I had a sound issue with something. So when I shared something the last time, no one could hear it. I just narrated it, and I thought, well, they're doing enough narration, you'll be sick of my voice. But yeah, there's lots of little videos of women on the tour. So there's little videos concentrating on the purification that you can watch, and just little clips of like where we stay and things as well. So that kind of brings it to life even more. So it's worth just checking out some of those too. That'll help you picture it even more than just even looking at the website as well. So and obviously if you think of any questions afterwards, you can always just give us a call in the office, and just if you just want to have like a one-to-one chat, or you think, oh, I found some flights, I just want to talk through like and get my head around how that works, or just send us any messages through the website, or however you like, really. But yeah, so inevitably you'll think of lots of questions after this.
I'll probably send if I probably will go for this, but if I do, I'll send what I'm thinking for flights, because I've not done any that are like layover ones before. So I'm like, it seems scary.
About that. I'm sure you can absolutely work it out, but there's something about when people
are like, are you sure? Because you're like, it's like the day before sort of thing, and I'm just like, oh, I'm not
it's
sure.
The time difference.
I've done a layover before. Going to Brazil, like we had to fly to Lisbon, and we had a 19-hour stopover in Lisbon, and then flew over from Lisbon to Brazil, just because there was no direct flight, as it were. So just the way it went. That was all right. I had
sometimes longer is better than a short one, I guess, and that's why it's almost like you might as well stop.
They had a little take to Lisbon. I'd like to go back just to experience Lisbon as a city break. That'd be nice. But
many thit's on the list. Well, not too many.
It's not too daunting to have a stopover. It sounds mad at the moment, but it's fine.
Yeah, and I think once you get going, you know where you're going, don't you? You're going somewhere exciting. So and that's why sometimes people go and then just get there the night before, just so they can get there and sleep, and then almost not feel like they're affecting the day. But like I said, we always plan the first day so it's not too strenuous, kind of get there, have a dip in the pool, and then we're just wandering around together in the evening, really. Like as we don't have a guide on that day. I normally just take people around, and then I can see if people are like starting to nod. I'm like, well, let's stop in this cafe. We'll just have a little rest, and just have some drinks and freshen up and stuff. So we save the kind of more detailed stuff for the other days, not on the first day that you get there, so you can get a bit of time to relax and stuff. So but yeah, any questions about flights, and once you get to have a chance to have a little think about it, just let us know, or anything at all. If you think about any questions, you can just get in touch. That's why we're here.
Oh, I've got one. Just what's the time difference?
Time difference, I want to say they're 7 hours ahead.
Roughly, there about.
Yeah, I can check on here. 8 hours. Well, Singapore is, sorry, I've got Singapore on here. Singapore's 8 hours ahead, and at least 7 hours.
All right,
Usually about 7 hours ahead. So it's that really, when you're looking at your flights and you think, well, if I set off on this day but I don't arrive till the next day, but then you've got the time difference, and sometimes you're like, is that right? That looks long. And it's just like a sense check, and it's very rare that people got it wrong, but occasionally people have, and I said, that's great, it's a perfect flight. However, you arrive in the day after the tour, or you arrive in the day before the tour. And so it's just sometimes reassuring to have someone else look at it, and we're used to looking at it. Or sometimes people will say, do you think this is too short, for a layover? And I can say, well, what airport is it? If it's this airport, I'm like, oh, that's quite a big airport, I would recommend you have a bit longer, little things like that, so we can share our sort of experience with you about what we recommend around the flight. So but so feel free to ask. So that's why we're here. Any other questions?
That's it for me now.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
Well, then I'll let you go. It's 8:30, so thanks so much for joining us. I know there were quite a few other ladies that wanted to join as well, and I still keep seeing names flashing up as if people are trying to connect on the side. But yeah, so hopefully you've really enjoyed that. Be amazing if anyone could join us, particularly us three in June, and that would be amazing. But obviously, for future ones as well, Heidi, if you're thinking about either September or a future tour, obviously we will be doing the tour again as well. So but yeah, it'd be great if anyone wants to come along and join us. We'll have three of the Travel Queen team looking at and Mark's guide. So yeah, that would be fab. So yeah, like I say, thanks very much. Lovely to see you all on this dark Wednesday evening. And yeah, hopefully we see you in Bali.
Thanks everyone. Nice to see you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Thank you.
Nice to see you all. Take care.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.